Are you on the right path when wondering if that is the change required internal instead of change external? We're conditioned to desire. So you're basically saying, are you on the right path when you begin to realize how your inner world has an influence on your outer world? Then yes, because if you think about this, what are your choices based upon? It's your thinking. Meaning if you do not change what you're thinking, your best thinking is creating your life right now. Meaning if you do not change your thinking, and dare I say, even begin to do things that feel wrong, right? Feel wrong, because what's feeling right? Feeling right, another word for right is familiar. Familiar is rooted with your past behaviors. So therefore, when we are thinking that we are thinking right, is often actually not heading towards the right direction. This is why we always say you want to make sure you're making choices that make you great, not that feels right. Make choices that's making you great, that makes you great. So when you begin to realize how much influence you have of your life, that's when you are on path for sure. Because think about this. Your choices you're making every day is controlling you. It's creating this life. You do not change that, your life will never change. But this should give you massive amount of freedom. I'm not sure about you. Anytime I remind myself, this is all my choice, everything. Think about this, every single one of you. You have a choice. Every single one of you right now. Everything you're choosing to do, feel, behave, think is your choice. Yes, certain conditions happens to you, events happen to you, unexpected circumstances happen to you, but those are the things that's defining you. How you're choosing to react to it, that's what's defining you. Meaning it is not your negative events that is the real problem. It's how you chose to react to those negative events. That's what your actual problem is. True. So those events is not the problem. It's how you're choosing to react. That's the problem. So when I remind myself, it's all within my control, my choice. It's freeing and liberating because it reminds you of how much power you really have. But it also reminds you of how much of a nightmare our life can become. Because if you look at life right now and there are certain things you're not happy with, you've chosen that. It's scary for you to realize you have chosen the life perhaps you might not like. Results is not an accident. So you choosing to not solve a problem, notice, is a choice. But you might say, no, Tim, I'm committed to change. Okay. If I was to take a regular person and say, all right, what do you want to change? They might say, Tim, I want to change my job. Yes? I'll say, all right, so let's change your job right now. What does a regular person normally say? Despite the fact that he thinks he's committed to change. He'll normally say something on the lines of, oh yeah, I want to change, but the job market is not secure at the moment. But I am not in the position right now to, how many know what I'm talking about? Therefore, he's not actually chosen to change. He has chosen to not change. That's his actual truth. And you can see it because of his big butt. That's how you know. It's a humongous butt that proves to you and I that he obviously hasn't changed and made a decision to change. He hasn't. He has chosen to live and settle in a life that he's not happy with. Are you guys following this? So the point I'm trying to get across is this. Everything is your own doing, believe it or not. And once you begin to awaken to that, your life becomes freeing because you can make better choices right now. And every choice you're going to make for this year is going to equal where you end up this year. So you got to ask yourself in each and every moment, knowing that you're defining who you're becoming tomorrow, right now, is the choices I'm going to make right now going to make my life better. I want you to imagine this. This is one of the WCA members came up to me and she said, Tim, this analogy you share with me, I ingrained it in my mind. I reminded myself of it. And she was able to accomplish a very big financial goals, by the way. Can I share with you this metaphor? I've not shared it on board LMA for probably about 4 or 5 years, right? I used to share in one of the original LMAs. I want you to imagine this, okay? Imagine that you hear a knock on the door. You open the door. And you're shocked to see on the other side of the door is an author. And the author says to you, hey, Tim Han sent me over to your house and he told me to basically observe you in terms of how you behave from the morning, afternoon, evening. And I'm going to be writing exactly how you behave, what you do, things you take action on and don't do. And then this is going to be wrote into literally like a definite testament of how to live life, and I'll pass it on to your family for generations to come. Knowing that was going to happen right now, how would you honestly be behaving? Knowing that everything you are choosing to do and not do is being wrote about, and it's going to be an actual scripture, almost a lesson that you're going to be passing over to family generations to come. How would you honestly be behaving? How many of you agree those little things normally you get angry over, you might just let it go, right? You might display some forgiveness. True. Those things you're procrastinating on, would you really be procrastinating on it if somebody was really watching you and saying, okay, so you got to procrastinate on those big projects. This person never takes risk. Would you really want that person to be writing that about you? Absolutely not. True. Deep down, think about this. We know what is most intact, aka integrity, with ourselves. And anytime your behavior is not intact, aligned with integrity, what do you feel? Guilt. True. Deep down, we know what is the best thing for us right now. How to create a world-class day. The question to ask yourself is, what is my next best thing to do right now? What is my next best thing to do right now? And moment by moment, that's how we're defining a world-class day. You take care of today, every day, and your life will take care of itself.